Okay, another Lucchese sweep. Typically, mob busts do not include wives, ex-wives, sons, stepsons, or nephews. That is, if your last name is not Perna. Yesterday, 14 people were charged and arrested in a multi-million-dollar online sports New Jersey betting ring. The case centers around Lucchese Acting Captain Joe Perna, whose role was that of financier of the operation. The enterprise consisted of his two sons, Joseph and Anthony, nephews Michael Cheddar and Dominic Perna, stepson Frank Zito, as well as several of their friends. Also picked up was his current wife, Kim Zito, and ex-wife, Rosanna Magno. Joseph Jr. ran the day-to-day operations by acting as a master agent and handling the flow of funds, credit lines, and naturally he received a larger portion of the commission, all acting on behalf of his father. The network operated by a group of agents and sub-agents, all consisting of college-aged kids. The charges are related to racketeering, conspiracy, gambling offenses, possession of gambling records, and money laundering. According to a report by the New Jersey State Police, the investigation took shape after the New Jersey Police Port Investigations Unit began probing suspicious illegal sports betting activity in Essex and Bergen counties. That investigation morphed into a much larger one involving offshore gambling websites controlled by the Lucchese family. The enterprise allegedly transferred approximately $2 million into bank accounts and offshore accounts from 2022 to 2024. In fact, in November and December of 2023, her and his current wife, Kim Zito, was the recipient of several payments given to her by her son, Frank Zito, whose role was a sub-agent, in which the proceeds were directly from the operation. As a result of this, Kim Zito is facing a third-degree money laundering charge. In April 2025, her and his ex-wife, Rosanna Magno, was pulled over during an investigative police stop. At the time, she tried to conceal what turned out to be gambling ledgers, and most likely belonging to one of her sons. She'll probably only face obstruction charges in this matter. Both women are charged separately of the racketeering case. Anyone who knows the Pernas understands that gambling is their primary business, such as the Operation Heat indictment in 2010 and the recent April 2025 gambling case that led to the arrest of Lucchese member John Perna and captains Big Joe Perna and Georgie Nexapola. Further proof of the Perna's history with gambling came in the form of a statement made by Attorney General Matthew J. Plankin at a press conference. Organized crime families seem to have a hard time breaking this old habit, so we're going to break it for them. Besides Joe Perna's two sons, his nephews Michael Cheddar and Dominic Perna acted as an agent and sub-agent. But the one name not involved in this case is Joe Perna's firstborn son, also named Joe Perna. I met the kid a few times, and fortunately for him, he's not one of those arrested. Michael Cheddar and Nicholas Raimo are both former wrestlers for Rutgers University. Cheddar's father is the late Michael Cheddar Sr., a Lucchese Bonanno associate who was also indicted in the Operation Heat case. This latest case is wrong on many levels. For starters, using young kids in the bookmaking capacity is a recipe for disaster. Anyone with street knowledge would be aware of that. Take a look at these mugshots. They belong in a school yearbook, not on an organized crime betting ring chart. The entire bottom row, with the exception of Rosanna, looks like they're going to flip yesterday. Speaking of Rosanna, I've been in her company many times, as well as over her house, and spent holidays with her. She was always very nice and a gracious person, and I truly hope things work out for her. Anyway, what can I say about Joe Perna? My opinion of him has never wavered, while in the street and as a member of the Lucchese family up to this very day. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. But even with that being said, how could he involve his sons in anything criminal? Being a member of a family places an umbrella over your sons. You're out there in the street, so they never have to. Where's the honor in that? Perna has always loved his pockets more than anything else. But to use his sons, nephews, even a stepson, by manipulating them and their friends just to line his pockets is a disgrace. I met Perna's sons. They were well-behaved, good kids who grew up in New Jersey, the furthest thing from any street kids that I knew. Now they all have an arrest on file and possibly criminal records to follow. Some of the offenses carry 10 to 20 years on the high end and 18 months on the low end. I don't know about other people, but I wouldn't want my son doing 18 minutes in the can. These are state charges, and anyone who's done state time knows it's night and day from federal time. And by the way, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Jersey can carve out portions of the case, especially if there's evidence crossing state lines or interstate wires. Then a federal indictment would supersede the state. Who knows? A parallel investigation could already be in the works, especially when it comes to cooperating witnesses providing additional information. Some media outlets already describe this as a federal bust, which is a good indication that federal agents are participating behind the scenes. This particular case has elements the feds look for: organized crime, offshore websites, interstate money flow, and electronic wire transfers, classic federal hooks. Joe Perna is a predicate felon, meaning he has prior convictions, which serves as a pattern of racketeering activity, all which can come into play during sentencing. Judges take prior organized crime convictions serious. They don't take too kindly of people coming before them repeating the same crimes over and over. This can also be an issue when it comes to bail, where a judge denies bail and deems you a danger to the community. All of the above strengthens the prosecutor's argument that this network was a Lucchese-backed enterprise, especially since Perna has been identified as an acting captain of the Jersey crew. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. So what does this mean for the Lucchese family? Besides the unwanted exposure, they now have a captain and acting captain of one of their crews knocked out of commission. They'll either make another member of the crew handle things or place someone there who's capable of taking care of business. The question remains, is having your sons and relatives, and including yourself, catch a case worth the money, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 million during a 2-year period? So after paying everyone involved, and now on top of that, adding legal expenses to the equation, coupled with the high probability of spending a few years in prison, I think the squeeze just isn't worth the juice.